Hi everyone, I'm Brett Ullman and welcome to Parenting, Navigating Everything, the channel where we equip and empower parents to navigate all aspects of parenting in this modern culture we live in today. If you've not already subscribed, please click the little red button below and you'll be notified when new videos come out each week. As a full-time speaker, one of the most asked questions I get from parents is kind of anything about the internet and our kids. One mom once said, "How do I spy on my kids' phones?" She wanted to see everything. Every text they did, everything they went to online, actually a real email. How do I monitor what they're doing online at home? Great question. How do I prevent my 10-year-old from seeing pornography when they're on my laptop? And pornography would probably be one of the largest conversations I have with parents today. Now, before we go through some solutions for these things, can we just acknowledge some kind of foundational thoughts? When your kids are tiny, you, for the most part, are always with them. And this changes as they get older, and you will have less and less time with them until after grade 12, when there is a chance they'll be on their own at college or university, or maybe even moved out and just working somewhere. There may be different technologies you use at differing seasons in your lives, right? As the kids are young, kind of junior high or high school, and young kids can't discern what's good or not. And at some point, you're going to have to let your kids make some decisions on their own as well, because one day they'll be in a place with no Wi-Fi restrictions or no parent around. I do, as a side note, not suggest you use spy software where you can basically read everything. They're called keystroke things sometimes, where you can read everything that they do, read their emails. I don't think this actually prepares our kids for being on their own. Are you preparing your kids to be successful in their digital lives, or are you over-parenting them and not letting them learn how to use phones and apps properly? I think that these apps also sometimes make kids not trust us as parents. And if they don't trust us, they may hide what they're doing from us, which is not a good thing. Now, I'm going to walk through all kinds of software and hardware to help, but one thing to realize with these conversations is that they often do breed complacency. If you put one of these hardwares or softwares into your home, we often then believe that everything's fine. And as a parent, if you think because you have these things, therefore everything's good, it's just not true. There is no substitute for you talking to and having a relationship with your kid. You want to build in your home these open conversations on all tough topics because you want your kids to come talk to you when something goes wrong. In school, we often call this digital citizenship. I like that word. You need to help teach your kids how to be good digital citizens when they're online. Things like keeping personal information private, school name, full name, address, etc. Now, the truth is, at some point, your kids will put their full name. Don't you on Instagram or Facebook as an adult have your full name? I do, meaning at some point your kids will have to do that as well. I think high school is actually a pretty good age. About not sending pictures to strangers when kids are younger, about talking about online bullying, and that kind of works also when your kids are in junior high and above. Keeping passwords private. And I even say not downloading anything unless you have permission, more for a younger kid, because a lot of times it could be viruses. And even just turning off location services. If you're on an Apple device, click on Settings, Privacy, Location Services, and you'll see any of the list of apps that are trying to use the location of your kid. And these aren't bad things. Like Maps uses my location, so I actually know where I am, and then it can actually tell me where to go. Remember this, there is no hardware or software that you can't really bypass in some fashion. There is no 100% protection. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't try to protect. I'm just saying there's no perfect device. I mean, the internet, we can do a pretty good job here, but then there's Google search. Most of these apps do nothing for this, and you will need to make sure safe search is on, and I'll do a video for that another day. On YouTube, there's lots of bad content here. Even iTunes. A mom found her 12-year-old daughter was watching the 50 Shades of Grey series because she bought it, and it was on her iTunes, and she shared the iTunes with the whole family. Not even going to go into that one. Netflix also has some brutal content, Amazon Prime, and some of these other video services. Not all movies are good. Hopefully you get my point. If you want and desire porn, you're going to probably go find it somewhere. This is where we want to make sure our kids, or we as parents, are working with our kids to equip them not to go on those things. So parental controls. There's a few different things to think of here. One is in our home, like when our kids are like in my house, like where I am. And the other is outside of my home, when they leave. Do they have a data plan, or are they using Wi-Fi at a friend's house or McDonald's or Starbucks? Remember, you can turn off your Wi-Fi even in your home. And if your kids have data, they just switch. If you turn off parts of the Wi-Fi, they just use their own data. So let's go through some hardware. Hardware is just physical things. The first one would be a product called Circle by Disney. Now, it's Circle, but it's not a circle. I think they should have actually made this a circle. I think if you have younger kids, this is what I would use. Now, I'm not going to walk through the setup, and it actually has a thing called Circle Go, which goes on phones when they leave the house, which is great. But this box just plugs into your existing Wi-Fi, and it allows you to manage content. Turn off Wi-Fi at certain times, etc. Fantastic product. I'm going to put all the links to things in the comments below this as well. Number 2 would be called Kids Wi-Fi. It looks just like, make sure I do it upright, this one right here. This basically you plug into an outlet and it makes a second Wi-Fi, kind of kids Wi-Fi network. You still have your normal Wi-Fi for adults, but then you get an incredibly well-designed and filtered Wi-Fi for your kids. Another amazing, amazing product. I would also say that you can get your router. Your router is where the internet comes in. There used to be a modem and a router. Most of them are both today, but that's where your Wi-Fi comes from. My router actually I use is called a Linksys VELOP system, and I'll add the notes to this. I did a video on it before. But you can take each iPhone, iPad, etc. and set different filtering, and even when the Wi-Fi is on or off for those things. Now, I have 2 kids in high school. I'm not turning off the internet because some of them do homework late and I'm up fairly early in the morning, but you can do that if you want. And there's also one called DNS Thingy. It's sort of a router and parental restrictions all built into one, and I'll let you check out that website. These are hardware. They're physical things you get. And yes, each of these things then use software, apps and things to help you do all the things you want them to do. Now there's software. In my own life, I use this in our home. It's called Open DNS. Now I use this and I love it. This changes your DNS entries on your computer. Now don't worry, some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. It's okay. On this website, it walks you through what it is, and then when you change these few things, it blocks almost all pornography coming into your home from the router. Now, because it's from the router, it's then filtered to all your devices, whether it's a Wii, your PS4, iPads, etc. And I love how that works because it's the router and then does everything in your home. The second one I would suggest I also use is called Covenant Eyes. Now, I use this on my desktops and my laptops. Basically, you can install this and then you can go anywhere on the internet, but your accountability partners will get sent a weekly update of where you go and what you do. And in a family, you can make the parent, get this update, and you can see where your family's been. XXX Church, they have a thing called X3 Watch, which is very similar to Covenant Eyes. Custodio is another, and I used this for a while. It was okay. Pretty decent when the kids were young, and it's all app-based, which is great for phones and iPads. It actually lets you see how much time your kids spend on Instagram, Snapchat, or whatever else they're doing, even just how long they're spending on their phones. Then there's some kind of larger packages. NetNanny, Semantic Norton's Family Premier. These are large software packages. Some families like these. I personally have not used them. And there's a few new ones I've kind of found. This one's called, and I don't even know how to say it, Mobisip, I think it's called. Basically, it's something I think is quite good for younger kids, and there's another one called forcefield.me, and again, the links are below. This might be good for more like middle school, high school. There's another website called unglue.com, and this does kind of screen times, like how long your kids are spending and some other things. Basically this, there's lots of options. You need to find what works best for you and your family. So I would leave you with this question. What do you use? What do you like about what you use? What do you dislike about what you're using? Please send me some comments. Tell me what I'm missing. Thanks for your time. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.